the right-wingers have been just, all full-bore hysterical that the President Obama, went to Cuba, talked to Raul Castro, shook his hand. Oh, my God, whatever. Because he's such a dictator, right? And Raul says, hey, if we've got any, he had released a bunch of political prisoners. He says, if you've got any names, give them to me. We'll release them. I would argue that we've got a lot of political prisoners in this country, but that's a whole separate argument. But look at Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the world's leading sponsor of Wahhabism, of Salafism, of the variation of Islam that says that if you die on behalf of jihad, if you die on behalf of spreading the word, as it were, then you immediately go to heaven. Saudi Arabia is the major exporter of this. They support mosques all around the world. They support imams all over the world. They support publishing books. Some of their textbooks, I don't know if this is the case now, but it certainly was even a decade ago. It's been maybe 15 years since the last time I was in Israel, but I've seen these things. Publishing textbooks or comic books, actually, that show Jews using Muslim blood to make matzah. I mean, it's just god-awful stuff. And on top of that, on January 2nd, Saudi Arabia beheaded 47 people across 13 cities. This is from a piece over at Salon.com titled Saudi Arabia Funds and Exports Islamic Extremism, the Truth Behind the Toxic U.S. Relationship. Among the executed was cleric Nimr al-Nimr, a leader of the country's Shia religious minority who was arrested for leading a peaceful protest in Saudi Arabia in 2011. Now, what was this guy's crime? He was known throughout the Islamic world for his staunch opposition to sectarianism. In other words, what he said, well, in fact, I'll just quote from the story from Salon. The outspoken Saudi dissident firmly insisted that Sunnis and Shias are not enemies and should unite against the sectarian regimes oppressing them. Amnesty International said the Saudi regime is using the death penalty in the name of counter-terror to settle scores and crush dissent, sentencing activists to death after grossly unfair trials. And then this today in Think Progress, Saudi Arabia sentenced a journalist to 5 years in prison over a series of tweets. Now, this Allah Brinji is his name. He's 50,000 Saudi Arabian riyals, about a $13,000 fine, 8-year travel ban, and 5 years in prison. He's a very well-known Saudi journalist. I mean, this would be like, sending Keith Olbermann to prison, or Rachel Maddow, or Bill O'Reilly, because of a tweet that, quote, insulted the rulers of the country. James Lynch, the deputy director of Amnesty International's Middle East and North African program, said the sentencing of Allah Brinji to a 5-year prison term is utterly shameful. He is the latest victim of Saudi Arabia's ruthless crackdown on peaceful dissent, where the aim appears to be to completely wipe out any and all voices of criticism. It's time for us to reconsider who our allies are and who our enemies are, or at least who our allies are. To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here, and please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.